Good morning, everyone. I have my bed in. So, yes, another roof situation today. So, maybe they'll be done since they've already started and done a lot of it. And I can take it out so we can have music at the end. But here we are today. How was your week? Was it a good, thankful week? Was there a lot of hectic stuff? Was it more mellow? Inquiring minds want to know. So here we are at our yoga practice to explore ourselves, see how that we're feeling disciplined in our mind, and see how our body is going to behave today. We're going to do the Surya Namaskar Series B, which is a slow flow in my book, but it does require a lot of push-ups. So use your options. You can always go to child's pose as we do a few of these to get our engine running. As always, if there's anything going on with your body, your back, your shoulders, your neck, or something that you need to tend to, you should tend to it. This practice is not to break you, it's just to lift your spirits. So we're going to start seated today. So take a seat on your mat. So I do hear some noise, but maybe you don't hear the noise because you don't. So I'm sitting Sukhasana, sitting with my ankles crossed. You can sit in a chair, you can sit with your legs out, you can sit supporting your spine or in the mudra gesture of your choosing. So come to sit a few moments to become present. So, not dwelling in last week, not worrying about the rest of this week, just being right here, right now. So as you sit upon your tush, address the Mula Bandha, the pelvic floor energy. That's always a good thing for us to do. Draw in through the lower belly, lending support to that back. I'm working on this a lot myself these days. So draw in through the belly. Visualize your spine lifting and creating space between the vertebra and disc instead of compounding it with gravitational pull. And then relax the neck and shoulders. Very common to hold tension in your shoulders. So consciously move your head around, relax those shoulders. And then the crown chakra, your connection to the greater whatever, all the way up toward the sky. So as you sit, taking in your environment, maybe you have music, maybe you have people clunking around in your space as well. We're just going to push those sounds and stuff away from us. And you can lower or close your eyes as you tune into your breath, that great centering tool that we have. And the breath is always moving with us, but we don't pay attention to it all that often. So now I want you to pay attention. Can you breathe through the nose? Should you breathe through the mouth? What is the length of your breath in a natural breath? So most of us do breathe on the shallow side. So notice that shallow breath or that deeper breath that you may have cultivated. And let's see if we can play with this breath a little bit by expanding the belly as you breathe in. I know we're all trained to hold in the belly, but go ahead, let it inflate as you take a breath in. And then use that belly to use the abdominal wall to press the air out. And you'll feel like bellows. You'll just feel that contraction. And just play with your breath in this fashion. And if you get a little dizzy, go back to your normal breath. See if you can pause at the end of the inhale and then also pause at the end of the exhale. Come back to your natural breath. Relax through the neck and the shoulders. Maybe move your head from side to side. So stretch the arms away and up, and then when we join them, as we always do in yoga, we cultivate that attitude of gratitude. So things can go sideways in our lives, but there's always something that you can be thankful for. We had that on display most of last week. And then let's get a little warmed up with our head by simply turning it from side to side. See if you can have an awareness of symmetry. So most of us have two arms, two legs. But can you look the same on each side would be something to ponder. And is there something that you feel in your neck or your upper traps? Holding your head still feeling lifted, drop your ear from shoulder to shoulder. And how does this feel on each side? So I wouldn't say it was uncommon to hold more tension on one side than the other. And maybe it feels like you should stay a little bit, and you can do that. So I'm just here to make suggestions. But if you have a better idea. And then as I center my head, keeping my spine lifted, simply draw your head downward. I'm not saying force it into your chest, but just look downward. And maybe move your chin from shoulder, or I call it the armpit, looking to one armpit and then to the other. And this one allows you to feel a little more in those upper traps. And I do feel this. So. And then slowly put your head up, and let's bring those hands together and warm them up. And now that we've moved those upper traps, let's put the warmth of our hands onto those upper traps. So not so much my neck, but slide your fingers down your back and maybe just pull on them. And if you have a shirt on, it's okay. See if you can get your hands under that shirt and just feel the skin warm. And this will help bring warmth into the traps so that they're perhaps less stiff and more responsive. Okay, let's go to a little bit of twisting. I've had my leg cross this one way for a while, so I'm going to switch. But again, you get to be you. I'm coming back to my lifted spine. Doesn't that feel weird going to the other leg? I think it does. So as you face me or hear me, right arm goes back, left arm goes forward. Get tall and then just look off to the side. Kind of notice where you're feeling that. Long through the ribs, maybe through the shoulders. Feel free to look behind you if you want to. And return center, foot left hand back, right arm forward, getting nice and tall, pulling your back shoulder back, and then you look off to the side. I say take in your visuals wherever you are, whatever you see, and it's without judgment. It's not like you're looking at something needs attention. You're just looking to see what you can see, helping us to be more present. Feel free to look behind you. And as you return center, a little lateral motion. Now, this can be difficult if you have some issues in the back. So put one hand on the floor on the side that you're leaning to, and we'll go from one side, push on the floor with that hand, go over to the other side, bear weight onto the hand on the floor. So the upper hand arm is straight, and you want to move it to the side of your face, not to cross over in front. So you really are getting that lateral. And again, notice the difference or similarities between side to side. And let's go to the chest and back. So as you lean forward, wherever you are, grab the hands or lace the fingers, straighten the elbows, roll the shoulders back, and if you can, raise the hands off your backside. Breathe into the anterior of your shoulder. It does feel a little tight in there. And as you release the arms, again, grab the hands in any way, lace the fingers. You don't have to press into the fingers. And as those arms press forward to make the elbows straighten, bow the head, look into the lower belly, pull in that belly, kind of round the back in that, what you might think of as a cat pose. As you lift up, bring the arms up over your head, land on your hands behind you any way that you went, and your feet come up and together. And this is where we start dropping our hips, moving into our hips as we drop our knees from side to side. The feet can be on top or they can slide by one another. So again, see how things are feeling. And then we'll go to a spine stretch as Bandha Konasana. So the bottom of the feet together, you're still leaning back on your hands. So if I showed you from the side, this is where sitting on a blanket or a pillow is pretty helpful. So I lean back and my knees open out a whole lot further than if I were up here. My knees naturally came up. So when I lean back a little further on my hands or your knuckles and lift up my chest and tighten my belly and maybe artificially draw my shoulders back, put a little arch in your back like the cow pose. You don't have to look up, but you can. As you release, walk up onto the fingertips. Now this is where I'm kind of fussy about hinging forward rather than starting your rounding or your forward fold from here. So use the hands to elongate your spine, then transfer one or two hands together if you wish, and then bring the spine through the pelvis. Feet can be wherever is comfortable for you, and then slowly melt. So this is early in our practice. Maybe we're just going to look at our feet. Maybe some of you have that flexibility to put your head on your feet, and that's okay. No judgment. Nice big back breathing. Keeping the head down, begin rolling yourself up. Visualize the vertebrae stacking one on top of the next, nice and light, and then fold up your legs and extend them front. Again, if you need the hands behind for a bit of support, and if you don't, that's okay. Look to your feet. My feet are not together, and I want to flex the feet so that my toes are pulling back, and for some of you, the heels might lift off the floor. Let's just stay in that static. Push out of the heels, pull back of the toes, lift up through the spine, relax the neck and shoulders. And breathe. Now, as I stretch the feet forward, this can cause cramping for some people. So as I push the ball of the foot forward, that kind of prevents a little cramping. And then if you want the toes to go forward, you can. Now have one foot flex while the other points, and then switch them. This might see better what my hands are doing than what my feet are doing. Pick a leg, any leg, and as you lean back, hold on to that leg and let the ankle move around. So you can really be up close and personal with your feet and see if you can separate the toes. Go a few times in each direction. Bandha some breath. And then straighten and bend the knee a few times while you're here. Relax the neck and shoulders. Just kind of lubricating the body. It's really pretty functional. All right, let's release and go to the other leg. Belly in, hold on. Ankle circles first. Then you go the other way. Spread the toes. Straighten and bend the knee a few times. Oh, again, notice how's one side compared to the other side. Dominant side might be a little tighter, a little more restrictive. And you breathe. And then we move over onto our hands and knees. So for those of you who need some extra padding, go ahead and put that towel or blanket under your knees. I'm going to move mine off to the side because I'm good. I have 2 mats. So I take 2 mats on this tile floor. Up north, I use the carpet. So we're going to be on palms, or you can be on knuckles. The hands will be under the shoulders. The knees will be under your hips. So come mindfully, place your hands. Remember, we spread the fingers for those who can work onto their palms, particularly first finger and thumb. And remember this for downward dog. And my hands are not right under my chest, they're under the shoulders. So I notice for some people, I have to ask them to move their hands a little wider. And let's go ahead and turn the toes under. You know how I feel about bendy toes. And let's go to like not paying attention to anything. Let gravity win this battle. So as you feel gravity kind of pull down the back, your elbows are straight, but you're kind of sagging. I'm not letting my head drop necessarily, but now I'll let it fall. So I'm totally just hanging on my bones is a term I've used before. So let's set ourselves into proper form. As I press into the hands, that causes my shoulder blades to set properly. As I move my eyes and head to the front edge of my mat, anchoring my shoulders, now down to the belly button. I'm not saying squeeze your bum, just squeeze the belly button up. Not saying you're flattening the back, just engaging against gravitational pull. So you would have, if I saw you, a natural curve in your spine. I'm not saying round the back. Natural curve, tighten through the belly. Check in with Mula Bandha. And you can squeeze the buttocks, but it doesn't create a motion. So you've squeezed your tush. So this is our all fours position. Slide your right foot back behind you on the mat, and let's maintain that position so that the right hip didn't drop down, for example. Slide your left hands forward so just the fingertips are touching. There may be a strong urge to pull back from the hand, but keep that shoulder over the hand. And then simultaneously raise the back foot and the front arm in opposition. Flexing the foot so the toe points toward the floor, not too high, not too low, thinking long, reaching against the pull of gravity as you breathe. Bandhas and breath. Touch your hand and toe back down, and then drag it back in, mindfully not letting the body go to its natural pull down like we had before. Okay, now you're equally distributed on your 4 limbs, chin up. Without shifting too much, slide the left foot back, leave it on the floor. Lift out of your limbs and either walk or slide your right fingertips forward on the mat. Make sure you're still leaning over the left hand. Draw up through the belly button. Now as you raise the arm and leg in opposition, honoring any issues going on with your shoulders, your back. You want that leg to be parallel, not too high, not too low. And you breathe. So we cultivate that upper body strength for some of us, a little bit of core strength. Touch the hand and foot back down, and then draw it back in without disturbing your spine too much. Shift your weight from one side, same hand, same leg, and then shift over to the other side. So I'm just shifting or leaning from side to side. I feel all the weight on one side of my body and all the weight on the other side. Now with my toes turned under, I'm going to back my hips up toward my heels. Go as far as is comfortable for you and no further. And then as you come forward, see if you can get your shoulders beyond the hands, so leaning out, leaning back. Take your time. Figure it out for yourself. And you'll notice where the grace and ease is, usually when we're back, and when the challenge and mindfulness is when you go forward. So now that we've gone side to side and back and forth, and you understand how this plays onto your knees, next time you go forward, either go left or right to the same arm, same leg, and then back towards your heels. Keep making that circle around onto the other arm and leg side and come back. So you're creating kind of a circle. And breathe. Once you get at the top of the circle, change that direction. So you repeat going the other way. And I'm going to sit back on my heels. Now, I know for some of you that can be problematic, so find your own path. If it's available to put your hands on your thighs, or for some, even putting the hands behind. If this is too much, you got feet things going on, you just stop, or you take a break, or maybe you don't come back this far. So later we're going to be doing some core plank work. And so we're going to stand up from here. As you don't use your hands, place one foot of your choosing and then rise up. Ooh, and then I have pixie toes. They just want to stay up. So if you have anything on your mat, go ahead, clear it, and then step to the front of the mat. So I'm going to take you through that Surya Namaskar Series B, she tried to say, in a slow fashion. Many of you have done this before, but if you haven't, don't worry, we'll get through this together. I stand in a variety of ways. So you can do the Iyengar, the Ashtanga, or just keep your feet parallel. So as I root the feet, ground into my legs, bandhas, spine, Tadasana. So a flow follows your breath. So I'm going to do several breaths in each pose. So you just learn the order. So keep your mind engaged. As you inhale, lift the arms, lift your heart. As you exhale, open the arms, bend the knees, and touch the back of your hands down on the earth. And if you can't touch the earth, get as close as you can. Grounding into the feet, breathe into a chair pose. And remember, we have variations. You can be a little bit higher, your arms can be a little lower. This would be more tradition. So that's your chair pose. As you breathe out, bring the hands down by the side of the body. Drop the head, try and straighten the legs. Probably not going to happen at this stage of the game. Inhale, drop the hips, lift the chest, look outward. Now you're going to use either leg that you want, but maybe learn to option go one side, then the other side. Step back into a plank. So the plank could be on the toes or on the knees, keeping your chin up and knowing the elbows will move in towards your body, not out away from your body. Chest and hips come down and land at the same time. As you relax the toes, lift with the muscles in the back, not with pushing on the hands. Breath in, lift the chest. You will go through the knees. As you push up onto the hands and knees, flip your toes under and go to a down dog without moving your feet. I always tell you to move your feet. In this case, we're not. So it is a downward dog. You're going to stand on your left leg, lift the right leg up behind you for a three-legged dog, choosing that parallel or opened leg position. Raise the heel of the left foot as that will create some more space for you. Bend the right knee and do the best you can as you look forward to step the right foot up between the hands, kind of, sort of. Drop your left heel down as you establish your warrior feet. Front knee bent, back leg straight, and that toe on the diagonal. Check in with bandhas. Feel free to use that right thigh as you stand up. Otherwise, stand up. And option one is to have the arms in front. Let's just say you got some cranky back issues. So here's Virabhadrasana 1, modified, but yet still very lovely. And for those who say, I can raise my hands, it doesn't bother my back, my front knee is still bent, I will come here. So you either will come up and go here, or you'll come up and go here, whatever makes sense for you today. When you breathe out, and you know I flip that back heel up, pivot, so I go through my lunge, step back into your plank. Again, from knees or toes, elbows in, lower yourself down, relax the feet. When you breathe in, lift your chest without pushing. When you breathe out, push up through the knees, elbows are in, turn your toes under, back to your down dog without moving the feet. Remaining on the right foot, you lift your left foot. Parallel or the open, whatever seems appropriate, bandhas. Raise the right heel, bend the left knee. As you look forward, you do your best to bring that left foot up into the low lunge. Hand, foot, hand. Drop your back heel, ground your feet, bandhas, and recognize you can use the left thigh or the front leg. Standing into Virabhadrasana 1, option variations. Roll into the pinky toe of the back foot. Your hips and chest are forward. So if you feel you're kind of twisted, turn that back foot in a little more so you can get that alignment of the hips forward. Yes. So you flip the back heel up, go back to your plank for the third time. Third time we do something different, you might recall. You go down, relax the toes. You go up, baby cobra, cobra, up dog for those who will. And then you come back down again. Now you turn your toes under. Either with the knees down, you lift your hips, or with the toes down, you lift your thighs. And then you press off the mat, going through your plank and into the down dog. And for your third down dog, move your feet forward and settle. When we get to this third down dog, you might want to bend your knees for a little more grace and ease. And you get about 5 breaths. As you move to the last breath, you raise both your heels, bend the knees, sit back, look forward. You take a bunch of little steps, 1 steps, or you jump your feet up to where your hands are. As you drop the hips and lift the chest, gazing forward, take a breath in. As you put your hands on or around your calves, you bow over, laying your body down. So those legs, again, may or may not straighten as you go to forward fold. When you come to your breath in, move back to your chair pose, being attentive to your blood pressure, right? Wait for things to acclimate. As you exhale, push from the earth, stand back in Tadasana. Now that is the series done with the right leg leading. Let's do it again with the left leg leading. Pay attention to order. So Tadasana, inhale, let the arms lift. Exhale, open the arms, bend the knees, touch the back of your hands on the earth. Inhale, a chair pose. Use your options. Exhale, forward fold. Your hands by the feet. Drop the head, lift the hips. Inhale, drop the hips, lift the chest, keep your hands on the floor. Exhale, step back into a plank, and from the knees or from the toes, elbows in, chest and hips land at the same time. Relax the feet. Breathing in, baby cobra. Stay up, push on the hands, rise up onto the knees, turn the toes under, downward dog, leave those feet right where they are. Stand on your right foot, lift up your left foot. Oh, this is familiar. Raise the right heel, bend the left knee. Use a bit of momentum as you look forward. Step the left foot up, drop the right heel down, ground into your feet. Standing up into warrior one, here's your options. Arms overhead if you prefer. Down to the bottom of your push-up. So the back heel comes up, the hands lower. You step back from knees or toes, and down you come. Relax the toes. Lift without pushing. Now go ahead, push up onto the hands and the knees. Turn your toes under, back to your down dog. Don't move those feet. Stand on left foot, lift your right foot. Raise the left heel, bend the right knee, look forward, step the right foot up, drop the left heel down. Again, you can use that thigh. Breathe in, warrior one. Now we go for our third time down. Flip the back heel up, bring your hands down, step back, elbows in from knees or toes, down you come, relax the feet. So one time you go up, baby cobra, cobra, up dog. Exhale, come down. Turn your toes under, lift your hips up from knees or toes. As you exhale, press up into your plank and right on into your down dog. And this one, we move the feet and settle ourselves. 5 breaths. Moving on, we raise the heels on the breath in, bend the knees, sit back, look forward. You walk, you step, or jump up to where your hands are. Breathing in, lifting the chest, dropping your hips, putting the hands on or around your calves, bowing over, bringing the body and thigh together as you fold. Releasing the arms, finding a chair pose, be mindful. Breathing out, stand like a mountain. And you come back to Namaste. So we're going to go through this a couple more times. And you know the flow, and I'm right here with you. Basically, it's breathing in, you're up, and breathing out, you're down. Sometimes you have to go a little further on the down or a little further on the in. But we shall do this. If at any time in the course you feel like, I just need to go to child's pose, you can do that. So I'm in Tadasana. This is my right side series. Breath in, the arms lift. Breath out, the arms circle and touch the earth on the back of the hands. Breath in, chair pose. Breath out, hands on the floor, forward fold, look through your legs. Breath in, drop the hips, lift the chest. Breath out, step back into your plank, and as you finish your breath, down you come. Breath in, lift the chest. Breath out, keep pushing up into downward dog, holding those feet. Breathing in, the right leg lifts, the left heel lifts. Breathing out, bend the right knee, swing and step the right foot forward and drop the heel. Inhale into your warrior one. Exhale back down to the bottom of whatever push-up from your toes, from your knees. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, push up into downward dog, hold those feet. Lift your left foot, raise your right heel, breathe in. Breathe out, step the left foot forward, drop the right heel down. Inhale into warrior one, stand up. Exhale down to our last push-up. This is our third push-up. Inhale, go up. Exhale, come down. Inhale, hips up from toes or knees and press into your downward dog. Just your feet, 5 breaths. Moving towards your last breath, you bring the heels up. As you exhale, sit back, look forward. You walk, you step, you jump to the front of your mat. Breath in, lift the chest, leave the hands down. Breath out, fold and bind. Breath in, chair pose. Breath out, mountain pose. Continuing, inhale, arms up. Exhale, open the arms, bend the knees, touch the earth. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, hands on the mat, forward fold. Drop hips, lift chest, breathe in. Step back into your plank and go down from knees or toes. Inhale, go up. Push up onto hands and knees, downward dog, breathe out. Raise the left foot, raise the right heel, breathe in. Bend the left knee, step up, drop the right heel, breathe out. Stand up, warrior one. Down to the bottom of your push-up. As you finish your breath, you're down on the mat. Inhale up. Exhale, keep pushing up, turn the toes under, down dog. Raise the right leg when you breathe in and the left heel. Bend the right knee, step it up, drop your left heel as you breathe out. Ground yourself, come up into warrior one, breathe in. Third push-up as we go down into our plank. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, come back down. Inhale, lift your hips from knees or toes. Press up into that last down dog. Hold your feet. 5 breaths. Last breath, you raise the heels on the inhale. Bend the knees, sit back, look forward. You walk, you step or jump to your hands. Lifting the chest, lowering the hips, breathing in. Folding over and bind, breathing out. Moving to a chair pose, breathing in. Standing like a mountain, breathing out. So you're a little bit warmer. Okay, let's face one another if you're not already facing me, and we'll do our tree pose. So tree pose can be a variety of trees. They can be, your Christmas tree, it could be a cactus tree, it could be a palm tree. So where you go with your hands is up to you. You're going to stand grounded on your feet. And for some people, it's better to be on a firmer surface. So if you need to switch, you can move off your mat. So just play with your variations. Bandhas, chest, grounded. Let's bring the right knee bent. Open it, leave the toe on the floor. Put the foot on your ankle or calf. Bring the foot high in your thigh. You may stay with your hands down, kind of a fir tree. You can bring your arms out. You can bend those elbows. You can raise the arms up. So stand and be that tree, and if you step out of it, that's okay. Come back and find it again. If you're looking for more challenge in your balance, instead of looking outward, raise the head and look upward. It puts a little more chaos into the vestibular, so stay with your breath. Find that internal calm in what may not feel very calm. Let the palms come together. Let the hands move into your heart from wherever you are, and stand on 2 feet. Now I'm going to give you a moment because your standing foot may say, I would like to move. So yes, you can move it. All right, we go to the other side. So again, Tadasana. Get your foundation, rounding into the feet. Let's bend your left knee. Option 1, toe on floor. Lovely option. Option 2, foot on calf. Option 3, high in the inner thigh. So don't want to put your foot on your knee. Choose your arm pattern that works best for you. Any arms are fine. Now find that stillness, even though it feels a bit wobbly. Find the hands moving together to your heart. Sometimes that will challenge you a bit. And then step down on 2 feet. Go ahead and turn yourself sideways on your mat so you're facing the long end. As you separate your feet, put your arms out to the side and let your feet be under your hands with your toes pointed down. So not too short, but also not wider. So just have it right about where you need it. Then lower your hands. Bandhas, very important here. As you breathe in, lift the arms. As you breathe out, bring the hands to the small of the back. My thumbs are pushed into my spine. Now, for some who have some issues with the back, it's okay to let your hips move forward, but don't do it mindlessly, do it mindfully. Tradition says you just lift your chest, creating that curve into the back. But for some people, you don't want to, like stenosis, you don't want to bend in your back. So you may need to shift your hips forward to put more of a curve into your back. So this is part 1 as you breathe in and lift. Don't have to look up. You can look outward or you can look up as you wish. Then lead with the heart. Let the hands for this one slide over your thighs. Are your feet parallel? Make sure the edges of your foot are parallel with the edges of the mat. Leave the hands above the knees, but hold on to them. Shift your weight forward, and you may feel something grabbing in your backside, as it should be. Draw up through the belly, draw down through the shoulders. Look to the floor directly below you. Go ahead and slide gently over the knees if you can. You want your knees straight, so if this is not available, you get to go where you get to go. Some of you may want to slide down to the shins, so I always have some support from my back by holding on to either my legs Or some of you might want to put the hands on the floor under your shoulders and let the head bow down. So feel that big pull in the back of the legs. Move the thumbs to the small of the back. Imagine there's a big pillow between your legs. As you squeeze that pillow, rise mindfully up. Watch your blood pressure. Weight at the top, or if you'd want like another back bend, inhale, lift the chest. And exhale again. Slide the hands above the knees. Now here's some options as we go to the airplane pose. Airplane pose puts a lot of demand on your back, and it may be inappropriate for you. So if you had a block nearby and you wanted to bend your knees and bring yourself up and find your block, you could put it in front of you. If you don't have a block, I'm going to show you how to do it with just your hands. So once we're back with our hands above our knees, shoulders down, you're either going to leave the right hand on your thigh and release the left arm. That way you have some support for your back. Or if you're going to use a block, you can put the block right between your legs, put your hand on it, reach the other arm out. If you say, you know, I think my back can handle both arms out, then you're going to drop the right arm, drop your left arm, this one, and raise the right arm. And remember, you're a plane, so you can't move your wings separate. Feel free to use a block or the floor or your leg as you twist. Return back center, thumbs to the small of the back, squeeze your pillow and rise up. Weight at the top, another back bend if you wish. As you exhale, we'll all slide the hands down the thigh. Honor your back as you do this unsupported forward fold with a bit of rotation. A big no-no once upon a time in fitness, I'll tell you. Now you're going to let the left arm drop out, reach out. You can use the right hand down, or you can have both arms out. And then turn your airplane to your left so the left arm goes up. So you can be that airplane in a supported way that works best for you. Fly your plane back center, hands to the small of the back, squeeze that pillow. Last time you rise up, weight at the top. Now this one, our hands go behind us and the fingers lace or the hands grab. Straighten the elbows. Now I go unsupported forward fold. My hands will lift up my back. If you happen to have a block here, it might line up so you could put your head on it. Some people can put their head directly down on the floor. Lean a little more in your toes. Make sure your heels didn't start turning in. They sometimes do that. And if you need a little more in your shoulders, try closing your palms together. Breathe. So we're going to stay down, release your hands, bring them down to the floor as you bend the knees. Walk your feet in, not too far. Now you want the heels in and the toes out. Prop your forearms up on your thighs as you slowly drop the hips and transfer your focus forward. Now I happen to have this block here, so I can do a full squat. Well, I think I could do a full squat, but if I couldn't, I might want to take my block and I'm not sitting heavy on it, and it allows me to get into kind of a garden pose here. But if you say, oh, look, Karen, I don't need a block, you can drop down to here. So the hands look very yoga-like, but really you've got the palms there to apply pressure into the upper arm to hold the knees open for you. I'm not asking for any pain. Sometimes this can be a little uncomfortable. I'm okay with discomfort, but not pain. See if you can stay a little longer. Now, traditionally, you should be on your heels and not rolling in on the arch of your foot. So if you need something, just saying, use something so you can get into better form and let your body learn how to get there in its own way. Yeah. So we're going to come down onto the mat so you can shift your weight forward and make your own way down. I'm sitting on a block, so I'm going to remove it, and then I'll just plop myself down because I was close enough. Once you get down, let's just kind of relax as we circle around a few times each way. And so I'm going to show you the plank variation for our core work today. You're going to have your forearms down, not your palms. You're going to anchor those shoulders. So this is shoulder strengthening, core strengthening, which includes your back muscles. But I want your feet wide. So as I present myself onto my mat, I make a little tripod with my hands. I put one toe out to the side and the other toe out to the side. So this is me in my plank. Now here's me sinking in my shoulders, pushing up. Here's me hanging in my hips, lifting up. Take your focus forward of your hands and breathe. Soften the knees, relax the toes, come up onto your hands, back your hips up. Do you know where we're going? Yep, we're going to child's pose. So go as far as you can with the hips toward the heels. You can either fold the arms, rest on them, you can have them come behind you, or you can bend the elbows, put the hands in prayer behind your head. So I'm going to return to that same plank, and I'm going to let you play with a variation of lifting one foot. So as I walk out back onto my forearms, turn my toes under, I'm going to have you play with lifting one foot for as long as you can. And when you need to, you put that foot down, reground and stabilize, and lift the other foot. Now, how long should you hold the foot up? I don't know. Just play with it. So you're anchored in your shoulders. You're in your plank. You're going ahead and do this. And then play with lifting one foot. Notice the sensations of the effort of that 1 foot lift. When you can't hold that leg up anymore, set it down, reground yourself, and do the other leg. When you're done, you'll put your knees down, you'll walk your hands back, and reestablish child's pose. In child's pose, it's a time to kind of digest your sensations. Like, where was that effort? Without judgment, you just observe, well, I handled that well, or geez, that was a challenge. So these are things we just consider about ourselves. And if it moves or tips into judgment, like I didn't do that very well, there's no need for that. You just did what you did. Yeah, and you did it. So yay. Go ahead and bring yourself up, and we're going to flip over onto our backside. Take your time if you can, rolling down your vertebra. And if that's not appropriate, you just get yourself safely onto your back, Watch out, ponytail placement matters. The hands will come down. You'll nod the chin, and for some people I know a pillow under the head is a better setup. So I want you to imagine the hands floating above your chest, but heavy in your shoulders. Now I'm going to have you make your feet feel very light. You're not going to lift them, but I want you to feel like, I think I've said this before, that there's little baby chicken eggs under your feet, and if they're heavy, you're going to crush them. So have your feet very light, but yet in contact with the floor. Notice what happened for that. You needed to engage your belly, and if you wanted to relax it, you'd feel the heaviness of your midsection. And then when you put the weight light, you feel how things support. May I remind you that I'm not pushing my back down. That changes my spine, but I do want to engage my abdominal wall, so I feel like I'm more on my sacrum and my low back is more neutral. Still pressing down with my belly. So you can lift both feet at the same time. You can take one foot at a time, coming up into finding that table pose where the knees are directly above your hips. We did this earlier, only we were on the hands and knees. Now we're on our backs, and people call it the bug pose. Again, watch that your back is not too arching. I know you can't tell with my dark shirt that I'm not pressing my back down, but if I did, do you see what my knees did? If I push my back down, that's what happens. I want to squeeze my belly without pushing the back down. So this is a little mental. You're going to think the right leg goes out and the left arm goes over. So this is like an upside down bird dog, isn't it? Yes, it is. And breathe. If the leg feels like it's too much pull on the back, move it more up on a diagonal instead of parallel to ground. Come back to tabletop, return the arm and leg. Now the left leg out and the right arm over. And breathe. Press down through the abdominal wall. Pretty simple, but lots to think about. And return to tabletop. Bring the knees up with the help of the hands and let them separate. Now you're going to notice that low back pressing into the mat. Go ahead and embrace that feeling. This feels good. Now I'm going to have those knees together and keep my feet down. You're welcome to cross the ankles if that's better for you, or just let them stay down. In other words, they're not going to kick up to help you. I want you to lift your bum. If this is difficult or you tend to want to jump it, use your hands so that as you push on the floor, you're lifting your tailbone just enough that I could slide a piece of paper under here. If you don't need the hands, you don't have to use them. Maybe you put them behind the head. That's what I do. And then lift up that tailbone. Did you hear the effort in my voice? Lifting that tailbone. And this is a very slow, mindful request of the lower end of the abdominals, the rectus abdominis. So there are a tapered band of muscles that go from the pubic bone up under your rib cage where they get wider. So that's why this might be a little challenging for you. You don't have the width of the muscle fibers to help lift. It should not cause pain in the back, but it does create a stretch in your low back, but maybe that's what you're ready for, huh? Couple more. Okay, I'm going to leave my hips up and I'm going to leave my hands behind the head or down by the side, wherever you want them. The legs are going to go up. I'm going to do a big walk, a big giant walk. So as one leg lowers, the other leg stays up or pulls down a little bit for more of a challenge. Now there's a temptation to bend that top leg, but I'm saying, let's keep the legs straight. If they can come to you and stay straight, great. If one leg just goes down, the other leg stays straight, that's great as well. Are you zipping in your zipper? So you keep that abdominal wall nice and tight. Take breaks if you need to, a couple more for those who can and should. And once more, bend the knees, separate them, grab the knees, let that low back press into the mat. Feels yummy, doesn't it? So we'll go to a bridge pose. I'm going to offer a variation. If you think the basic bridge pose is your best option, once you've got your setup and grounded with the feet, address your bandhas and elevate the hips. Tuck in those shoulders if you want a little more. For those who say, what's that option? I might want to do that. I'm going to take one foot and put it on the knee. So basically I'm using one glute to elevate my hips, and I've got a little extra weight from this leg. Now, if there's something going on with your back and you lift one leg up and it says, ouch, you put both legs down, because that's the better choice. If you did one leg, let's go ahead and do the other leg. If you didn't do one leg, you just stay up in your bridge pose. Squeeze your bum, zip your zipper. Everyone to the classic bridge pose. Tighten up your twist. See if you can elevate the hips, maybe snug the shoulders a little bit more. Those legs are parallel, though they like to open, so keep them parallel. Move your shoulders away so you can come down the upper back, pulling in through the belly button to get the lower back. Finally, releasing the glutes. So I'm going to do left ankle on right knee with the knee going out. Then I'm going to pull the bottom foot up. So I'm in that pretzel pose or figure four pose. Let's not grab behind the leg quite yet, because I want you to take this foot that's up, probably your left, since I asked for the left. I want you to roll to your right so that foot comes down carefully on the floor. So your left knee is down. This is the left foot that I've done, and the right knee is laying down. So let's use the right hand to push the left knee open. Reach your left arm up and not going directly to the side, not going directly over your head, but that diagonal space in between. Turn and watch that hand as it reaches back. I'm reaching toward my flower base. And I'm going to push the knee away and then breathe. Now you may need a little more, in which case that bottom leg, the right leg, can push your foot up a little more if you need a little more. So right hand is pushing into the inner thigh of my left leg, left arm is reaching up above me, and I'm breathing. So I feel an interesting pull around my hip joint. Let's go a little more. Use that right hand and hold the outside of the knee. Don't force it to the floor, but see if it can come down a little bit. Before I was holding it up, now I'm going to gently pull it down. Breathe. Take the left leg and pull it into your chest. Take the lifted arm and hold onto that knee. Roll onto your back and bring both knees up again. As we go to the other side, you're going to take that right foot and put it over the left knee. You're going to stay there, and I'm going to spin around so that I don't run into the wall. So I'm not reaching behind the lifted leg. So this is now my right foot. And I'm going to let the right foot, as I roll to the left, find its way. So it's a little easier if your knee is further away, and it'll be much more challenging the closer you bring your foot up. So I'm rolling over, rolling over until I feel my right foot touch. And you're going to feel the knee want to come down. And so that's why the left hand ouch pushes that knee away. This is a hard joint for me on my right hip. My right arm comes up and I watch it as it cascades out on that diagonal line. So observe again the similarities or differences. I'm finding a big difference on this hip. This hip just is a little more cranky today. Good time to take a deep breath because we've got that rotation going in the spine, opening up the chest, honoring the sensations that you're creating for yourself. And then using your hand to come around the outside of that right knee and gently moving it downward toward the floor. Not to force it. It may go, it may not. Just give it some time to figure out where it is today. And as I think about retreating, I'm going to bend that top leg, bring the top arm up so now I can pull myself onto my back. Again, open my knees, relax that back, and let's go to the inner thigh. Reaching in, you either grab the ankles, the big toe, hold the calves, the inner thigh. I can't do this. This is too close. I got to turn. So this is our adductors. You know, I'm a fan of making the inside of my leg a little more mobile. So I want your tailbone dropped. For some people, grabbing up to the ankles causes your tailbone to lift. It's fine to grab your inner thigh. Let the hips drop down. Let the knees be very straight. Hold where you can. And if you can do the bind and keep your tailbone down, well, that's great too. Check that your shoulders are not holding tension. Kind of feel the heaviness of your body. And it may be cooling down a wee bit. When you're ready, you're going to bend the knees, roll to your side, bring yourself up, and we're going to go back to all fours before we go to Shavasana. But you're welcome to put your socks on now or your hoodie on now, depending on you. So I'm back on all fours. Palms or knuckles, doesn't matter. You're going to pick one arm, you'll do both. And you're going to let the arm just laterally travel out and up and around and back down. And same thing other side. The arm travels outward and upward, then reaches back behind you and then comes back down. Just alternate the sides, out, up, around, and back down, out, up, around, and back down. Once more, out to the side, up above, all the way back and around. Last time, out to the side, up above, back around. And you can stay on the palms or knuckles. Now we're going to do one leg. It's going to go back behind, turn out to the side, come up towards your elbow, and back down. Then you do the other side, lifting the knee, opening the knee, bringing the knee up towards your shoulder or elbow, and then put it back down. Up, open, forward, and down, up, open, forward, and down. Fun with Karen today. One more time. Use your bandhas. And take yourself into a child's pose just to digest any position that you want. So again, you're just checking in with yourself. And as you make your way up, we're going to move toward our Shavasana pose. Now that could be the feet up the wall. Some people like to put a block under the hips. You could lay on your stomach. You could lay on your back, traditional corpse pose. You could even lay on your side. I'm not too fussy about it. We're just going to try and work on our mental focus. So as you're breathing and getting yourself set up, as I keep my earbuds in because it's still rather loud. Maybe you have some music where you are. So you tune into the breath. You consciously relax the neck, the shoulders. Move to a deeper breath. You just kind of feel your body melting on the earth for a moment. And as you feel your body melt, relaxing the jawline, kind of having a nice sensation. And for some people, this is maybe the least easy part of the practice. And for some, it's the most anticipated part of the practice. So you get it to be what you need it to be as you rest for a few moments, waiting for the singing bowl, allowing this time to be yours. So I rang the singing bowl to awaken you from that moment in time that you gave to yourself. And feel free to stay there or roll to your side. So I share these thoughts. Anuk Ami is quoted as saying, "You can only perceive real beauty in a person as they get older." Ooh, I like that. Let's say it again. You can only perceive real beauty in a person as they get older. Youth has its own special appeal. Young eyes are bright, young skin is taut and dewy, and young bodies are limber and quick. And beauty, but real beauty, requires something youth doesn't have. Beauty is not simply a youthful glow or a collection of attractive features. It may, in fact, just be the opposite. Real beauty blooms from the soil of experience, of knowledge and wisdom. It is more a reflection of inner attitudes than a physical image in a mirror. So today, what will I look like as I get older? What does my face show now? Will I perceive the real beauty in myself and others? Well, that's a nice one, I think. So bring yourself up to a seated position and you sit mindfully, addressing your bandhas and your breath and the day ahead of you and the day behind you. But in this moment, we stretch our arms out to the side, raise them above, join them together. And as we finish our practice, we share that word that means the goodness in me honors the goodness in you. And so, namaste. I'm glad you came. I'm glad we got to do this. We get to do it again during this very busy season of the last month of the year. Thank you so much for joining today. Namaste.